Alec Stern, let's welcome him. Stand up, guys. Let's cheer. Remember, we're celebrating people today. Alec Stern.
All right. How we doing? All right, thanks for having me, Raul and company. So what do you want to talk about? How many, show of hands, how many are familiar with Constant Contact? Any paying customers? Thank you. They appreciate that. I say they because, I'll tell you a little bit about where Constant Contact is today, and then I'm going to go back in 3 of us in an attic, and what do we do those first, kind of almost 2 years to take off, right? And I'll tell you what we had and didn't have, and kind of give a little bit of a snapshot of that. So if we're okay with that, I want to put myself in your shoes. If you're starting a business or you're early in your business cycle, I don't want to talk about the scale. I'll tell you where we ended up, and I'll go back to the attic. Is that good? Does that work? Yeah. All right, cool. So Constant Contact today, in 2016, we sold for $1.1 billion. In 2007, backing up, we actually went public. So we had a double, as they call it, with going public and selling. 1,500 employees, about 800,000 customers, 8,000 partners, about $450 million in sales. So that's where we ended when we sold. So pretty wild, right? Yeah. Average customer paid $46. So we had to make up that with a lot of going down main streets around the world and finding small businesses in all different verticals to do that. So as I mentioned, when we started, there were three of us in an attic. There was 2 techies and me, but I was buzzword compliant. So I could throw the lingo around, but I couldn't code it. I did everything in PowerPoint, and I say, why can't you save PowerPoint as HTML and just give me the app already? Why do we have to wait for all this development time? I'll tell you what we didn't have, because that list is longer than what we did have. And that'll give you a taste of what we had at the time. So we didn't have a finished product. We didn't have a business plan. We had an executive summary. We didn't have any revenue. We didn't have any case studies, any customers, any employees. The list went on. What we did have is a passion and a drive and a commitment to help small businesses. So we wanted to level the playing field for small businesses on Main Street against big competitors that were starting to really, light the fire. Amazon and others, that just had enterprise-level tools. They had marketing teams. They had agencies. They had everything that they needed to succeed. But that small business on Main Street didn't have anything. And so our passion and drive was to level that playing field. So we set out to do that. And so through that and through the learnings, I'll tell you weaving some stories along the way, but really to just tell you some, what I call them like pillars to achieving success, some of the early days lessons learned. I talk to thousands of startups and small businesses annually, speaking at conferences like this. Another shout out to Raul and the team for a great effort. Yeah. It's been an amazing day. I listened to every talk and got some great nuggets myself, which is always wonderful. So I'll take you through like kind of these pillars to success that I mentioned, and we'll have a little fun with that, okay? Does that work? All right. So the first thing I want to ask is, how many of you have that one person, or maybe a couple, that go-to person that just listens to you all day long, or every time you want to talk about your idea and vet it and whatever, they just listen? Anyone have that person? Okay, everyone in the room. Well, this is my guy. That's Bandit. He's listened to me, like I can't, 10,000 hours minimum, okay? So much so that he actually started his own idea, right? And now he's going around speaking. He'll be here with me today, but he has another speaking engagement. So we can, this is advanced. There we go. So that's Bandit on stage with me. So, all right, so we'll move on to the pillars, which I mentioned. So we'll get to the first one, which is setting your guardrails. I want to just say, a show of hands, how many of you know if I looked at a dartboard and I look at the bullseye of that dartboard, that one core thing you're going to do in your business to be successful? Show of hands, how many know what that is? Okay? 10%. That's an average response. And there's no wrong answers here. It's okay. So either one or two things. You haven't figured it out yet. That's cool. You got to work to get to that answer quick so that you can actually really target working on your idea and bring it forward as opposed to spinning, trying to figure it out, okay? Or if you were like Constant Contact, if I looked at a bicycle wheel, every spoke on the wheel was another idea of what we're going to do to help small business. We were wide-eyed. We had every idea you can imagine, which have now come out to be a lot of products that exist today. But we had to figure out what the one thing was. And we got some great, brutal, honest feedback from early advisors and mentors to say, focus. What's that one? You can't do all this. You don't have revenue. You don't have all people. You don't have anything. What's that one thing? And it was email marketing, which today is still the anchor of Constant Contact. And so what we established we wanted to do, we did, which is great. But I would just say when you're figuring out that like lane in the highway that you're going to travel on and your core thing, it's really important to nail that first. Go out as early as you can. Don't be in stealth mode and like keep the secret. You want to get out there, share the idea, and get feedback. So we went out with an unfinished product and got a lot of feedback from a lot of folks who were our target customer. But we didn't give it to them until we asked them the question, what is it that will make you successful in your business that you don't have today? Or you have it, but you want more? They said things like, I want to be top of mind to my customers. I want to get more customers, more revenue. I want my customers to tell others. So then we knew exactly kind of the blueprint of us creating something and then being able to bring out what they want. So you're staying in the lane of a highway. You're going to go get that feedback. You might switch lanes. That's okay. And so when you might get off the highway, like a pivot, and do something completely different. But don't put the horse blinders on and say, I know exactly what the target market needs, and not listen to feedback, and not get out there and hear from them. Because if you just stay in a vacuum and they're too defiant on working on what you think it is, this is the road you're going to travel on. You don't want to be on that road. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of startups that are on that road, and they would not get off it. And they're not here today, okay? All right, so the next thing in terms of, if you go ahead and advance. The next thing is, your target market. Where are they hanging out? In the case of small business, we couldn't go door to door selling to every small business. It was 3 people, me, myself, and I. Couldn't go to the 30 million small businesses in North America and sell to them. So how could we get to our target market? And that's where a channel strategy comes into play. And figuring out exactly where is your target market hanging out? Who are the trusted resources that they listen to every day? And I would challenge everyone that whatever your business is, there's at least 15 categories of channel partners that you could work with. And the one that everyone in the room shares is association and member orgs. Whatever you do, there's the association and member orgs of blah, local, regional, national. And so you have an opportunity to get to your target market through those channel partners. And so you want to establish relationships where they're going to put your message or you in front of your target market. Anyone find some today that they're working with? Okay, 2 hands. This is our exercise for Monday. To create just get on a whiteboard, strategic value, revenue potential and strategic value, and just plot on there. Think of ideas of who you might be able to work with, either strategically or got to put money in your pocket. There are a lot of trusted resources that are helping your target market, and you want to find them and figure out how to work together. And there's a whole day on this as a topic to figure out the give and get and how you would work together. But find the people that are working with your target market, okay? We're all customers in our own right every day. We have a very high expectation when we go into a place for services. If we don't have a good service, what do we do? Anyone? Don't go back. Tell everyone, right. With a push of a button today, you can complain on social about a bad service. So we have a high expectation, and all businesses need to figure out a way to delight the customer and create a wow moment. If you create a wow moment with your customers, what will they do? Tell everyone, right? And so you want to move them from being a customer to being a raving fan. So has anyone, raise a hand, doing something that's unique that others aren't doing to with your customers? Okay, 2 or 3 people. Handwritten note. Does anyone know what that is? Anyone doing it? Okay, you got about 5-10%. It's as simple as just writing a thank you note or just was thinking of you. You're a valued customer. Doesn't matter what the reason. I actually, in a previous speech, someone in the audience, I gave them a couple of nuggets that they loved. Got a handwritten note with a custom set of drumsticks, giving it with my name in them, engraved or carved into the drumsticks, and just said thank you, for what you gave me. So think of the things you can do to surprise and delight. In the case of Constant Contact, what we were able to do was, not initially, but we added into the mix, that within 48 hours, if you opened a trial, we called you as a marketing coach or consultant to help you. Hi, I'm your coach. What brought you to us and how can we help? And they're like, whoa, I signed up online last night and you're calling me? This is crazy. Like, what's this cost? Nothing. We're here to help. And so you can imagine what that did for a small business who has very little time and probably doesn't really know exactly what they need to do or want to do, but someone either told them they should do it or they saw something that they liked or they just need to get more folks in the door. They need more revenue. And they come with an expectation that this will be their answer, but don't know how to do it. So a coach is going to call them and help them. And that was one of the secret sauce things we did, and they still do today, with an army of people that will call that customer in the first 48 hours. And so traveling the country, I didn't realize that this still existed. Anyone here at the Publishers Clearinghouse? Yeah. So if you look at, that's not Bill Clinton, by the way. He didn't get a new job. But that's Glenda, who filled out a form, mailed it in, and got a $10,000 check, a bunch of balloons. A big van pulls up, filming the whole thing, and with all excitement. That's back in the day. But today, if Glenda won, what is she going to do the minute she goes back in the house? Tell everyone. Go on social and say, check it out. I couldn't fit this check in the ATM, but I just got $10,000. So imagine, the power of social and the other things in creating that wow moment. So I haven't created these t-shirts yet, but they're going to be on Amazon soon, and everyone needs to buy them, and for you and all your employees. Keep calm and delight the customer. All right? So create your wow moment for your customers. The next thing is about your voice as a business. We're all small businesses. We have the freedom to say whatever we want. No swearing in this building. We've declared that earlier. I'm not a swearer. I don't know if that's a word. Effective immediately. It's a word. So the fact that we have this ability to be ourselves, humanizing our voice and being able to show the slide. Finding your voice doesn't have to be necessarily you yourself. It could be in the voice of you, your staff, your recipient of services if you're a nonprofit, your board and volunteers. It could be your customers. That voice, can just give people the feeling of who you are as a business. Promote and talk about all the people that work for you and share that with the audience so they get to know the business and who's in the business. And you can have some fun with it. And certainly on social, you can ask open-ended questions, and you can put out new information. You could get their feedback. We're thinking of adding a new service, A or B. Which do you think would be more valuable? You can make the request, of them to tell their story about using your product or service or whatever it may be. So you think about all the things that the power of social will do for you as a business. And so bigger companies today, have legal teams, and every word gets wanized. You don't have to worry about that. You could be yourself, be your own, humanize your voice and just be your authentic self. And that's what people will want to. They want to get to know you, and also understand what are other folks like me using it for, and how they benefit. So think about ways to incorporate in your customers and some of those stories. So the next one is I say, look big, act big, become big. Neither of those are me as a child. And this is around perception. When you start out, how many of you are using an email address that has at Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whatever? Okay, wrong, stop, Monday, get your domain in your email address. How serious is someone going to take you in a business if you're using some general email address? It's not hard, and it's not expensive. You have to find all the ways you can take your brand and bring it forward. These are basic things you can do. I always say, if you're going to get on the phone and talk to a strategic customer or a partner, an investor, create a small slide deck that you brand. Here's 5 slides. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what makes us unique. Here's what our customers are saying, and here's how we can work together. 5 simple slides, branded, nice, and you get on the phone with them, and you say, listen, I worked up a couple of slides. Do you mind if I go through those just to set the stage for the call? And they always say yes. So you show this, now you own that call. You show those slides, you're putting your best foot forward. Doesn't look like it's your first time at this rodeo. You've got that down. And then what do you do after the call? Email it? I think you both are in tandem here. You would package it up, send a PDF version of it with a nice note. So now the telephone game doesn't start, where they're thinking, what did they exactly say? And they go to their peers and say, hey, saw this new company. I think they do this, or maybe they do that. And someone's like, we don't need that. Instead, they have the slides to either refer back to or share. So again, you own the follow-on conversation. And then they say, let's get on the phone. So you go to get on the phone, and you can say, look, we had sent that slide deck. I don't know if anyone had a chance to see it, but maybe can we level set, and I'll just go through those quickly. Would that be okay? They always say yes. So now again, you own the next call with the team, and you can control your message and ensure that you own them. But you've set up this nice branded communication, and so it just makes you put your best foot forward. Everything should be done professionally and branded. We're in this world where it's 147 characters and small snippets in email through my Gmail account. That doesn't get you anywhere, okay? Because they're not going to take you seriously. So you can control the brand and your messaging at every turn. Sound good? Yes, sir. All right. So the last thing on this, we always are a little hesitant. Let me rephrase this. How many of you have a strategic partner, a key customer, possible investor that you want to call, but you're hesitating to call? You're not ready yet. You got to do a few more things before you pick up the phone. We oftentimes are hesitant in the business, and we're also hesitant because we just don't feel we're prepared enough to do it. Call them Monday. You're prepared enough. You can have a dialogue and a conversation. You can explain exactly where you are in the business, and it will flow. And then, of course, there's always multiple conversations. The first one's not going to be the end all, where they're just going to say, no, sorry, we're not interested. as long as you can, just go ahead and pick up that phone. But energy, right? Positive energy. You can hear it through the phone. If you're hesitant in any way, they're going to hear it. So what you want to do is, before you get on that phone, you want to call a loved one, hug a baby, pet a dog, or what I like to do is sing to my favorite song.
Don't stop believing.
To that feeling, street lights, people, right? Do it. Then you get on the phone, you have an amazing call. What do you do next? Close them. Anyone else? Celebrate. Wrong. Make another call. You're on fire. Make another call. And then you do that call and it goes well. What do you do next? Make another call. Then what? Make another call. And then you celebrate at the end of the day. All right? You have to take that positive energy at every turn and use it. So feedback's a gift, right? There's a lot of different ways we can get feedback. You can get it offline, online, formal, informal. Formal surveys and asking somebody questions. Is anyone familiar with the Net Promoter Score? Okay, 2%, that's okay. Google it, Net Promoter Score. It's a question you add into a survey. How likely are you to refer us to someone else? So that moves somebody from a user to a raving fan to want to love it so much that they're willing to go out on the line and tell someone else. And you can calculate it. They show you how to calculate the Net Promoter Score for your business. It doesn't matter what other Net Promoter Scores other people have. You figure out your own. And then you measure against yourself. And you find out what's your happy path for your customers working with you. And you might do things in the business like stop calling them. You might do something like bring out a new feature or a release or change something that they don't like. And you just continually survey and get feedback, and then test it against yourself to say, are they on the happy path? Did we do all right? Is it going up? Is it going down? And so it's a testament to kind of all the activities that you're doing and a way to weave your whole team into the mix here. And so it's really important to figure out where your customers are at. Feedback is a gift and it's also an opportunity. Because if you get bad feedback, you can turn that into a positive to want to say, I'd love to put you on an advisory board, spend time with you and learn what is it about what we did that you don't like. How can we improve it? What were you looking for? What expectations did we not meet or exceed? So turn that into a positive when it's negative, but then of course the feedback you do get is just going to fuel you to want to, to what you're doing to go further with it, okay? And again, you can do offline, online. Every single day, measure exactly what you're doing. Pretend you're a lawyer or an accountant, because if you ever work with one, they get it down to the second that they did something with you. I just had a lawyer with a project, said, I want to take you to lunch. This was such a great project. Guess what showed up on the bill? The cost of the lunch. I'm like, where did this come from? Who did the inviting? I'm charging you for my time having lunch. Take that. He took it off the bill. He should have, right? Am I right? I should have taken him to a steak place and double charged him. So you think of all the things you do offline every day. Calling customers, visiting. What's your time worth an hour? If it takes you 3 hours, 3.5 hours on a new prospect and somebody to convert them over to a customer of your product or service, $100 an hour, you just spent $350 to get them. And you track that and see what's our cost of acquisition. You can do the online things are very ordered, pay-per-click and all these other things where you get to see exactly what you're spending. But the offline things, a little bit harder to measure. But it has to be in the mix. You have to know what you're spending. More importantly, you have to know what you're spending in time to win that customer. So imagine if you were an art gallery and it's 3.5 hours of time. Someone comes in the first time for an hour, kicking tires, looking around. They come in a second time. and you're not there, but there's a staffer immediately sees you coming in, like get on their phone, like tire kicker. This guy's coming in the third time, he's not buying anything. But do they know that it takes 3.5 hours or 3.5 visits or whatever the measurement is to make a sale? So then instead of that, they put the phone down because they're getting closer to the sale. Like if you don't know what this is and you can't communicate and all, sort of really work toward understanding that, you may miss opportunities for the wrong reasons. Make sense? So think of the offline things that are the most costly in time and effort. And the ones our time, we figure it's free, right? It's not. If you want to run this thing and you want to scale it, it's going to also help you say, well, if we want to double sales, what do we need in terms of time and money to do that? That will tell you, we got to bring in someone else. I can't tell you the number of times I get asked the question, when do you know in your business when you should bring someone else in? I'm like, if you're asking me that question, we got a problem. Because you need to know that. And so some things are formulaic, where you'd say, after so much time, it's an automatic new hire. Because in order to be able to service them on the sales side and post-sales or whatever it may be. And so you just really need to understand that. I can't sort of express that enough. It's really, really important. So the next one is, what you're doing is so hard. I mean, it's honestly hard. If you're a small business owner, it's a startup. People are talking like, you want to give up. There's a lot of times you want to give up when you're starting a business. It's not easy, but you have to find a way to have fun. Maybe you can tell from my personality that I live to have fun before anything else. And there's always a joke in it, whatever it is. Even the worst crisis, we're going to find a way to laugh at this. As long as no one got hurt. Maybe we'd laugh if it's not too bad. How did that happen? Yeah. So I've been laughed at for a few minor injuries. So think about, having fun. So Constant Contact, we took Halloween really seriously. And we actually had trophies, and there was a trophy for for a category, best use of a costume that depicts what we did every day. So I'm going to put up my costume and tell me what I am. You can talk out loud. All right. Thank you, Dad. Social butterfly. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an award-winning costume right there. I got the $2 broken trophy, and I still have it to this day. The other thing is, I mentioned drums earlier, but being a drummer, I'm a hacker, but I have a lot of friends that are professional musicians, so I get to play in the coolest places ever, and they love it. Like to try to goof on the drummer, switch a song in the middle, see if I can stay with them. I'm like, don't do this in front of thousands of people here, Just let me just do my thing. And so I actually wrote 2 songs for Constant Contact, riffing on other songs that are well known, writing the lyrics, did music videos in one case, and the other video is when our partnered program got so large, we were in Vegas with a large partner conference, and I rewrote the song and played with a Vegas band and jumped in with them. But on the music video going out to our customers, we were able to incorporate them into the video and have some fun. So if 2 of you watch it, it'll trend. I don't need much. And so raise your hand if you're going to be one of the 2. All right, thank you. If we get 5, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to retire again. So you can have some fun watching the video, but you'll also get a feel for things like I love cupcakes. So of course we had to go to one of our cupcake customers. Like, well, we need props. They're like, well, what flavors do you want? They're like, well, we're going to have several. So you'll see us enjoying cupcakes, among other things. So putting this out there, what happened? The customers that were in the video were sharing it all over. They were loving it. And other customers just thought it was funny, and so they were sharing it. So when it went out, it just had a lot of pickup and got a lot of play. And of course, it always led to, folks wanted when's the next song coming, and yada, yada, yada. So thankfully we sold, so I don't have to do it again, which helped. And so just as we're wrapping up time, I just want to just say that, I've been in your shoes many times. Constant Contact is the most well-known. I've had 3 acquisitions and 2 IPOs, about to have another acquisition. I'm laser focused on finding markets and disrupting markets. And some of these are new ideas like Constant Contact, and others are just executing on an existing idea. We walk around all day long seeing services and stuff out there and saying, that could be done better. And you know what? You can do it. Because the majority of the companies today are just current ideas, just done better. And so I'm not any smarter than anyone else in this room, and wasn't gifted, and have had my share of, I can relate to a lot of the stories that people open their hearts. I don't have time to give you my story, but it had a lot of stuff with it. But I just had a passion, and I knew that the drive to want to execute better than someone else. And I live every day just thinking about how I could do that. And right now, I'd never suggest this, but I'm co-founder of 4 companies. So I retired for 6 months, I guess. Was bored out of my mind and had to fire it back up like 4-fold, and certainly do a bunch of other things as well. So I appreciate your time. I'll be here the rest of the day if you have anything that I can chat with you one-on-one or whatever works, Thank you.
Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause.
All right, Alex. Thank you, sir.